Alright, and welcome back to the Scorchfarer. I can't believe I'm going to start this episode by saying this, but I cannot believe I just woke up to the news that possibly, like 99% probable, we are going to get a Skibidi Toilet collaboration with Fortnite. Why? Oh, you want a Half-Life collaboration with Fortnite? Oh, here you go, monkey paw, just Skibidi Toilet. No. How is that even possible, dude? I I mean, I'm thinking copyright wise, you know? It's like Skibidi Toilet, they use Half-Life assets, uh, edited and manipulated through a Gmod and Source Filmmaker, I think. So, so it's like, are we going to get like the Half-Life citizen in a toilet case? How is this going to work, dude? I'm not saying it's impossible from Valve, it's just like, you know, Fortnite is an Epic Games property, and Epic Games doesn't collab with Valve because, you know, they have their own storefront, the Epic Game stores. They used to be boys, not anymore. Well, anyways, 2 minutes just talking about Skibidi Toilet. Alright, sorry, maybe not the right time or place, but the first thing I'm opening up to record is this game, this Scorchfarer. The first thing I see on the news today is this. Come on. Alright, well, whatever. Today is the 17th, by the way. So if tomorrow something like that happens, well, we will have known by a week already. Anyways, hopefully I can finish this like within an hour, maybe a bit more, but I want to be done with this already. I mean, I like it and everything. I'm not saying I'm hating it, but you know, it's like I want to see everything this game has to offer already. Because just out of surprise, I managed to have like time to record today. Today my brother went to work and I'm recording earlier this time around 9:30. I don't know why I woke up early, but here we are. At any rate, let's continue. A knock on the door was heard all across the Brembar residence. It was very early in the morning. Just like here. Alright. Okay. Amber moaned while getting off the couch. A second knock was heard, this time a little louder. I'm coming, he moaned once more as he put on his slippers. He had decided to sleep on his workshop couch after working past midnight on a few projects. He couldn't get his mind off Ooh, so it was hard for him to get to sleep. Ah, damn. It was one of those nights, huh? Also, I have yet to have breakfast, and it should be better for the recording, right? Because usually I'm just like, I don't know what you call it in English, but repeating what I just ate. And usually I'm like, or something like that, just, you know. So I don't know, we'll see. I just had coffee and a muffin. If that causes trouble for me in the recording, I don't know what else I can do. Anyways, as soon as he got into the kitchen, he heard a third knock on the door. Amber was almost fully awake, and Ooh came to mind once more as soon as he heard it. Who is it? Amber asked as he moved close to the door. Mr. Amber, it's me, Ooh, a very soft voice from the other side, mother. Damn. No. When you're talking, you sleep, man. This guy, lucky guy. Oh no, give me a moment. Amber ran around the kitchen and checked his reflection on the hanging pot over the wooden stove. He tried to make himself presentable, but after realizing he couldn't do much about it, he whispered to himself, whatever, there isn't much to fix anyways, Amber said before quickly going back to the door and opening it quickly. Amber found a very different Ooh than the one he had used to on the other side. She was wearing her combat uniform, carrying a pair of broadswords on her back. There was a spell on them that prevented anyone from touching their sharp edges without the sword being held by the user. While she looked imposing, her facial soft expression made her look inoffensive, in a way. I apologize for coming this early, Wu said as she closed her eyes and made a small nod towards the man. Amber shook his head. That uniform just reminds me how important you are for the city, Amber said before checking outside. After realizing she was alone, he invited her inside. I think we can see Wu with three different outfits on this chapter. Which, not bad, alright, I mean, just, it takes production assets to make them. I assume it has to do with Xiao's meeting last night, Amber said. Wu nodded. Something is happening not far from here. I was aware of the situation, I just didn't imagine I would be asked so soon to do something about it. It has only been a few days after all, Wu explained. Amber didn't know how to respond to that. He knew that Wu wanted at least a few weeks to getting up to speed. Is it bad? Amber asked. I think it should be like a few weeks to get up to speed. Well, regardless. Wu nodded once again. May I know what that's all about? Is there anything we can do? Amber continued. Wu was grateful that Amber was so considerate about the whole situation, but before anything could be said, she noticed the presence of someone else near the entrance of the kitchen. Lua was peeking into the kitchen. Upon realizing he had been noticed, he moved inside of the room and approached the pair. Good morning, Misu. He stared at Usopp for a moment. That looks good on you. After getting on one knee and hugging Lua, Wu stepped back to be able to look at them both. Thank you. It feels good to be in this uniform once more, but I still feel it's a bit too early, Wu said before remaining silent for a moment. The Soda Academy Lupomo was sealed magically. We aren't quite sure what is happening, but our mission is to keep the students safe and to disable two potentially dangerous individuals, Wu explained. Lu appeared to be more surprised than Amber about the situation. After all, the South Academy was a place he had talked about in the past with his father. The South Academy? But why? Lua asked. That's what we would like to know. An arrest was meant to take place at the Academy, but something went wrong. Xiao asked for this to be a quick operation, we explained. I was against it. I would rather ask questions first, but she wants us to arrest anyone that isn't a student or part of Lupomo's personnel as soon as we got there, Wu finished. They all remained silent for a moment. A door creak grabbed the attention of them, being peeked inside of the home. Man, what are you following? Good morning. Ooh, we are ready to leave. I'll probably accompany them. Well, you probably accompany her. Who was a bit annoyed by this. She wanted to stay with Amber and Lua a little longer before leaving. I'll be with you soon, Wu said. Bill made a hand signal to Lua, asking to follow him outside. Did he just follow this early? Amber simply nodded at his son, who quickly made his way outside. As soon as the door was closed, he put his attention back on Wu. Amber sighed deeply before crossing his arms. Wu moved closer to him before speaking. I don't feel ready. I didn't expect to have to do this kind of job so early. Physically and mentally, I'm unprepared, Wu said before making a short pause. It might sound drastic, but after everything I have experienced in the past, I have lost companions, friends, many without being able to say goodbye to them, Wu said with her eyes focused on her feet before looking directly at Amber. If I don't come back, I want you to know that I'm grateful to have met you both, even if it has only been a week. It's the best that I have spent in such a long time, Wu said while smiling at Amber. Her smile was quite different from her usual one. Amber had a feeling that whatever was discussed at that meeting, she wasn't being completely honest with him. Don't doubt yourself, Wu. I know you will come back. I want you to come back, alright? Amber said in a strange tone. Amber didn't want to sound authoritarian, but he felt it was the only way to get his feeling across. He stepped forward to hug Wu. Her brothers were in the way, but he managed to embrace her properly. Wu hugged Amber back after some hesitation. I know for a fact Xiao is crazy, but not enough to send you on a mission she knows you wouldn't be able to handle, Amber said, still trying to find the right words to express what he wanted. We'll be waiting. Amber said. He was very worried about U, but felt the need to avoid showing any sign of nervousness, as it would probably make U feel uncomfortable. Thank you, U said, dropping the commander act for a moment and allowing herself to be vulnerable as she could possibly be. They embraced each other for almost a minute in complete silence. After they moved their bodies apart, U spoke. U stared at him with a faint smile, while Amber tried his best to hide how embarrassed he was. Looking at you depart makes me wish I knew magic so I could accompany you, Amber confessed. Maybe Lua could watch you back when he grows up. I will be worried for both of you now, but I know you will be fine. Just talking nonsense now, Amber said with an awkward smile, who wiped the tears that had been pulling in her eyelashes. The little Lua protecting me, I could see that. I will probably be the one who keeps him safe though, Wu said. It's time to go, Wu said before moving towards the door along with Amber. Right outside the Brentbar residence they found a very peculiar scene. Be careful when robbing that bar. You can caress the area above his eyes, but you have to do it gently, Vin said. He was instructing Lua on how to pet the dragon that was standing in the middle of the road. That's a big ass dragon. This is a huge asset. Pretty detailed actually, it looks pretty good. And it also tastes like, quite the effort just to make like irregular type of details, just that they don't look the same from one to another. Pretty good, pretty good. The dragon was so large that it blocked almost the entire street. There were three small little wyverns, two on top of the house in front of them, and another on the street around 20 meters to their left. They were all being ridden by U's bodyguards, three anti-magi that wore clothes similar to U's current outfit. It's a lot calmer than I imagine. Can I ride him right now? I think he likes me, Lua said, his eyes wide open. No, sir, that ain't your dragon. Maybe when you grow older you can have your own, Amber said. The dragon moved his head up once the petting had stopped. When are you coming back? Lua asked towards U, not really annoyed by his father's words. It's going to be a long journey? A few hours. Around 4, U said. We'll try to come back as soon as possible. If everything goes okay, we will come back tomorrow morning, U explained. Bin made a signal to the bodyguards riding the wyvern on the street, who made their way towards where Bin was. The man got on the wyvern, right behind the rider. He adjusted his string as soon as he got on. Be careful, Lua said. He moved closer to and hugged her. He was nervous after what he had been told by Bean yesterday and what U explained while in the kitchen. He didn't really feel like he had a proper scale of what was going on. Thank you, U whispered to Lua. She smiled at the boy as soon as she noticed his intense stare. After another small hug, she let go of Lua and walked towards her dragon. Amber approached the wyvern that Bean had gotten onto. So you're going to? Amber asked. I'll just stay close in case anything happens. I doubt I can do much, but you never know. Bean explained with an annoying expression. Amber remained silent for a moment, as if trying to put his thoughts in order. Please take care of her. She told me a moment ago that she was afraid of what is coming, that she wasn't ready for this kind of endeavor. I have no idea what you're going to encounter over there, but I hope for the best, Amber said. You shouldn't worry that much. Even at her worst, who could wipe the floor with most Maggie in this continent, Bean said. Who was able to hear those words from Bean, which made her sigh deeply. She made her way to her dragon, and with a quick and smooth movement, she got up on the saddle. Amber and Lua waved at U, both obviously distraught by the situation. Good luck, Lua screamed while clutching the stone hanging from his chest. U stared at them both for a few seconds before nodding and pulling on the reins. The dragon made a very sharp turn and took flight. The other three wyverns waited for U to be on her way before taking off. Damn man, it sounds serious. well, they are big wars being involved. Huh, is this a new Lupomos Academy West Wing? Thank you, thank you for the location. Uh, I think we haven't seen this this background before, right? All right. I will say again, please, please post the HD backgrounds of Chapter 2 and Chapter 1. I mean, I haven't checked their Discord. They probably have them there, probably. But, well, it will be nice to know. This look pretty good. Yes, yes, I understand, said the man as he tried to keep his composure. The prefect outside of the bedroom appeared to be worried. If I see any of them again, you will be the first to know, he continued. After some back and forth between the two, the prefect decided to leave. With a short sigh, the man closed the door. He approached his dresser and placed the thing he was carrying on top of it. It appeared that the prefect managed to catch him right before he reached the inside of his bedroom. After remaining silent for a moment, he moved close to his closet and opened the doors. Agnes and Ika were hiding inside. Yep. You know, I have no problem with you staying here, but you really have to be on the move soon, or the prefects are going to start searching every room. The man said to them. Ika was sitting with her back against the wall, hugging her legs along with Galeto, while Agnes was standing on the other side. Mrs. Mrs. Tyne. I mean, depends, right, on the language, but we could say Tyne. Mrs. Tyne looked very worried, even more, even more so when she's friends with your mother. The man said to Ika. She's working with them, Berin. I know it, Ika shouted. Agnes tapped Ika's head, telling her to stop raising her voice. Ika covered her mouth right away with a surprised expression. With them? The ones who sealed the academy? Berin asked before looking in Agnes' direction. Yes, we have the suspicion that maybe the academy personnel may be involved in this whole thing, Agnes said while stepping out of the closet. We check. Oh, check the poster, we check the poster. Ow! Is that a giant owl? Halolulu, or something like that? I almost got eaten by one of those when I was small. That is impossible. Halugans don't like meat. They can eat it, but it isn't common. Well, he was quite interested in me. Might have confused you with a carrot from far away. Your hair is quite shiny. That is such a terrible excuse. Well, it's a giant owl, and they love carrots. Well, it didn't say that we check everything, so I'm just going to keep checking for a second here. The floor, well, the bedroom itself. Jeez, your room is larger than mine. And no roommates. No kitchen, though. I will personally complain to the administration if you had one. When you're gone, can you lend it to me? Some peace and quiet would be nice. Somehow I feel like that is related to me. It might just be. And that's all of them. Continuing. Thanks, Bering. I don't think we will stay here for much longer. This kind is kind of working away. At least now we know that they really have no idea where we are, I think, Agnes said. What is your plan? No offense, but living in my closet isn't feasible in the long term, Bering asked before sitting on a chair close by. We'll leave tonight. We're going to investigate the top floors, Agnes said. Nave's office? Bering asked. Agnes nodded. If someone in the academy personnel is helping these people, they probably already know by now what happened at the observatory. They are looking for us to keep a close eye on everything we do, Agnes said. Neither of you showed up at the auditorium this morning. That's the only reason Mrs. Stein was that worried. She looked genuinely concerned, so I really can't tell, Vern said. Maybe it's not her, but others could be, Ika said. Agnes looked in the direction of Ika, who who was still sitting inside of the closet. He remained deep in thought as he stared at her. Go alone right now. I'm quite fast on my feet. I'm pretty sure I can get there in no time, Agnes said. Ika got on her feet without delay and approached Agnes with a menacing stare. How many times do I have to tell you? You are not going alone. If they catch and kill us, it will be together, Ika said. Well, we don't have to die at once. Kill you? You told me about what happened at the observatory, but I don't think they will go as far as to kill you, Averin said. Ika didn't respond, simply crossing her arms while staring at Agnes. As he said, nobody's going to kill us, you noisy girl, Agnes said before silently gasping, realizing he is raising his voice as well. This needs to be done. How are we going to reach the top floors without being seen? Agnes asked. You move at a snail's pace compared to me, and it appears I have a natural resistance to whatever kind of spells that man was using. I can't carry you around without making it harder for me, Agnes said while trying to bargain with Ika. Ika squeezed her skirt with both hands. She was clearly annoyed by the refusal. The teachers and prefects don't seem to have a good explanation about what's going on, Averin said. The fact that they told us not to get close to the principal's office just suggests that something happened to Nave. A friend of mine went up there a few days ago, but he said he barely remembers what he saw up there. Beren began explaining. They are claiming people's memories. After crossing his arms, he continued. He woke up near the West Wing Library the next day. Whatever is happening, Nave's office appears to be of importance, Beren said. How far did he get? Ika asked, quite surprised at what Beren just said. He said the last thing he remembers is stepping onto the floor where Nave's office is, Beren said. Ika and Agnes looked at each other for a moment. That is one floor below. The one we were able to reach last night, Agnes said. Beren looked very interested in what they were saying, allowing them to continue. We want to go to Nave's office, but the red-tinted staircase is wrapping a reality-bending spell. Not hard to spot it if you pay attention, Agnes continued. That's the only way to reach Nave's office. How are you planning to cross it? Beren asked. I think if I'm fast enough, I can get through it before it latches onto me, Agnes said. Like a failed mousetrap. That will only work depending on the spell, Beren pointed out. They all remained silent for a moment. It makes me glad that we aren't the only ones that are trying to figure out what is happening, Ika said in a very calm voice, thinking about what Beren said about his friend. They grew silent once more. Let's wait a bit longer. Classes should be resuming soon. Most teachers will be busy, so I should only have to worry about the prefects, Agnes said as he began thinking about the best route to reach the top floor. Ika kept thinking about excuses so she could tag along with him. Everyone is going crazy in the academy. So I guess we don't know if the prefects are actually working directly with the, what do we want to call it? Interlopers. With the raiders per se. Or maybe they just working with the raiders as in, we're doing what you're telling us. Just do not make too much of a fuss. But, well, or maybe they're being mind controlled. Well, I guess we'll see. Perfect weather. What a shame, Rezu said out loud. The strong winds, currents moving through the plains, made it hard to hear what was being said. I didn't say it before, but Rezu kinda reminds me of Rezu from Baki. And the guy kinda looks a bit like, martial artist kinda guy, so, maybe it's a reference. Or maybe it's not. But I just forgot to say the last time. Whichever the case, I'm going to give him Rezu's voice. Alright. Whatever closest I can think of. A cold veil could be felt, only disturbed by the giant tree in the middle of the valley. Milia and Rezu had their eyes on their target, the academy resting among the giant branches of the tree, a few kilometers away from them. According to Maldo, visits have been common, used to be repelled by the first barrier. Now that it isn't here, it feels like an invitation, Rezu said. There was a large circle of compressed grass around the academy, The first invisible barrier of protection set around the tree had been lifted. Miller stared at the academy, many thoughts crossing through her mind. When was the last time you fought? Rizzo asked. In a regression, 2 years ago, a situation that got out of control. Why do you ask? Do you want to brag about your accomplishments? Miller asked. The only thing I'm proud of are my birds, said the man with an overconfident smile while looking at the giant vulture standing close to them. Before he could say anything else, they noticed Maldo flying in and land close to them. She spoke as she approached them. The inner barrier is still up, but it's weak. Any skilled anti-magus should be able to penetrate it by now. It feels like a natural progression, as if the person responsible wasn't taking care of it, Maldo explained. In my opinion, it could probably stay up a few more days before it fizzles away, Maldo continued. We'll make our own entrance then, Miller said before grabbing her spear tight and walking towards her dragon without taking her eyes off Blue Pomo. After taking flight, Miller and Razor approached the academy with caution. Each on their own flying beast, they decided to fly low in order to not be spotted through the windows of the academy. I mean, don't they have lookouts? Probably not, I guess we'll see. After reaching the base of Blue Pomo, they moved up in the direction of the first few levels, just a few meters away from the trunk. Upon reaching one of the service entrances, they remained hovering close to a large balcony. Maldo arrived half a minute later, since she was unable to catch up with Razor and Miller. Maldo, we will take it from here. If we don't come back in an hour, come find us, Miller ordered. Maldo stared at Miller for a moment before nodding and flying off. I can feel the barrier. I don't think I can simply absorb it all, Miller said. Unless you have a better idea, Miller said while looking at Razor. Razor shook his head. This clearly was a job for one person. Miller squeezed her spear tight and removed her security harness. She stood up on her dragon saddle after making sure she had proper footing. Steady now, Miller whispered to her wyvern. The veins of Miller's right arm turned bright pink that could be seen even through her skin and outfit. Her eyes changed color just as she slid her boot across the dragon's neck, signaling it to lower its head. She remained motionless on top of the dragon, making sure she had the best posture for the throw, so that she wouldn't fall off the beast. As soon as the head was out of the way, she had a clear shot. Nice effects. A nice effect that it goes on top of the text box. I'm pretty sure it was deliberate. A strange sound could be heard, an echoing whisper that lasted for as long as Miller took. Well, but I can read this word to this thing. The spear cut through the air, producing a shockwave large enough to push them both backwards. Red ripples of energy were released from the body of the spear, damaging the barrier even before the tip made contact with it. It is destroying the AT field! Alright, shut up. Absolute terror. Alright, enough. Her weapon reached the door of the balcony within no time, with the barrier absorbing most of the energy of her attack. I really like this dynamic scene, alright? The barrier was ripped apart with very little effort, and the spear reached the balcony soon after. Alright, hopefully no one heard that. Or if they did, it's time to move fast. The attack caused the entire balcony to be ripped apart from the rest of the building. Oh, they definitely heard that. Oh, they are just on the back. The students are, on the halls. It's so noisy, no one heard it. I don't think so. Miller and Razor noticed that the security net had become disabled as nothing caught the debris on its way to the ground. They moved inside as soon as they could, since the barrier would probably seal the academy in a matter of seconds. After jumping off the back of their beasts into the academy, they ordered them to fly towards the flatlands below. Alright, we better go! Well, we can look at the spear, of course. All damage. Perfect throw. That showers of sparks nearly burned my clothes though. Oh, I should have warned you. Your clothes looks very luxurious. Mine are just resistant against several types of magic, so I didn't care about being hit. Don't worry about it. They are just expensive, but just that. If I am going to die, I would rather be wearing something elegant. You will be a very well-dressed ghost. I will have that in mind if I ever design this uniform. All of them found. Continuing. Millie quickly reached for her weapon, which had embedded itself onto the wooden wall of the pommel. Interrupt your vision, Rezu said. The pink barrier reconstructed itself right before their eyes and became visible not long after. Because of how weak the barrier had become, the wind was able to pass through the barrier on some parts. I didn't notice it. They jinxed us, Miller said as she felt a strange energy on her body. Interrupt you allowed the person that casted it to see through the eyes of someone else for a limited amount of time. It must have permeated us when you hit the barrier, Rezo said as he started to walk. Let's keep our eyes open. I don't want any surprises this early on. Miller grabbed her spear tight and started walking alongside Rezo. They began to make their way through the lower levels of the academy in hopes of finding any prefects or teachers on their way up. The maintenance personnel of Lupomo were nowhere to be found. All of the service rooms were completely deserted. After climbing several flights of stairs, they finally reached one of the floor students were actually allowed to inhabit. Ooh. Nice backgrounds. Again, I know it takes a lot of effort just to make like a single background. I mean, look at this. Look at all this detail. But it really helps to just, keep the story more dynamic, especially as a reader. Because sometimes, I mean, we see the same background for a long string of dialogues, which I mean is not a crime, right? But usually if you change the background, it's kind of like a refresh from the reader. Well, anyways. This place brings back a lot of memories. The smell of the flowers and the buzz of the insects. One of my favorite places in the academy. If it wasn't for the current situation, I would stop to pick some of their berries. If everything goes okay, let's come back here to get a bunch of them for your bird before we leave. Neat. Bees, not the bees. I got an achievement. Bees, keep them away. I'm quite allergic to bee stings. They better stay away from me. Have you ever visited Pas Pascontor? You could receive an allergy therapy directly from their tribe. Does it involve being stopped by thousands of bees? If you're willing to, I suppose you could do that. The usual treatment is diluted poison of caterpillar milk. Yuck. They say it isn't as bad as it sounds. Neat. Alright. Alright, I like that. Just, explanation of the world. Completely optional. And it let us know a bit more. Continuing. A long corridor with Lupomo's greenhouses on both sides was the first thing they found. It led directly to the main hall of the academy. So quiet, it makes me feel like we are the ones being hunted, Rezo said in a nervous tone. Right before they reached the entrance of the greenhouse, Rezo stopped. Milia was confused by this, but as soon as she walked right next to him, she felt an unknown type of energy emanating around them. The fact that they were anti-magi made them very sensitive to any magical ability used in their vicinity. They both looked above. On the ceiling, there was a large hole with a spiraling torrent that circled the edge of this disturbance. The wall wasn't damaged, this hole was simply bending the space between the wall and the next one above. That wasn't there a moment ago, Resus whispered, with his eyes wide open. Miller and Resu walked backwards a few steps, being extra vigilant about their surroundings. It was a perfect circle, where the wall that had been pushed to the other edge of the hole and folded into an area a few centimeters wide. That is probably how they moved through the academy without being seen, Miller said. At that moment, the hole simply shrank until it disappeared and the wall was left intact. We weren't alone, we weren't alone just now, Resu said. Let's move. If someone is hunting us down, it isn't a good idea to stay put. Resu finished. The main hall is through the greenhouse. They are hunting us, and we are the free man. Shut up. Faran better have a good explanation for all this, Miller said as she walked past Resu. Ooh, another scene. Alright, surprised how fast we have been moving through these like little chapters. Because we had like the Amber residence at the outside, we had like the Lupomo Academy, and then we had like these parts, so you know. It's going quite fast, and you know, again, there's a lot of art background, which takes a lot of time. But I'm glad. I'm still convinced that hopefully by the time they do like the last chapter, they can just revisit whatever previous chapter should be by then, which is going to be future chapters by today consideration, and you know maybe add more dynamic scenes. I really like the comic book style they did for when they enter the Blue Palm Academy. Like I said, it's good that they take advantage of the dynamism, well, the dynamic nature of a visual novel. Because like I said, it will be interesting to see this in a book. I'm pretty sure they can do it. Uh, if you have read the chapter 1 PDF file that you can get on Steam, they really know how to format like a book, so I presume it's going to look gorgeous if they make one. But like I really like that the visual novel is more dynamic than a book per se. So you know, take advantage of the medium. And and it does that thing that I said that it's better if they take advantage of the visual novel medium instead of just putting a book, but you know, on a visual novel. You know what I mean, right? Make it dynamic to take the best advantage of this medium. Anyways, Bering opened the door slightly and checked the hallway outside, closing it soon after. It's empty, but I can hear footsteps. I don't want to be a killjoy, but you are going to find someone on your way up there, Bering said to Agnes. Ika was sitting on the floor not far from them, legs crossed, with her eyes fixated on the window. Agnes remained silent for a moment as she thought about what to do. If I get caught, hopefully I will be able to discover something, Agnes said. Doubt you will be able to remember anything if that happens. Verin said. Hey, Verin, Ika said aloud, which made Verin look in Ika's direction. Huh? What is it? Verin asked. You have noticed it too, right? The barrier is getting weaker, Ika said while crossing her arms. Verin appeared to be puzzled by that statement. You're quite observant after all, Ika said without moving her eyes off the window. Verin looked through his window and then back at Ika. Not exactly, but now that you mention it, today is the first day I have heard the wind hit my window since this all started, Verin said. The wind? Agnes asked. It all clicked for him a moment later. Ika thought about it for a moment before she realized what Verin's point was. As we were taught, heat is converted and channeled into our bodies to fuel magic spell. The cold wind outside must be slowly ripping the barrier apart, Verin explained. I thought so too, but wouldn't it be as easy as feeding the barrier more magical energy directly? Ika asked. Unless that person has forgotten all about it, Agnes said. Ika kept staring at the window. Agnes and Verin looked at each other, quite confused by her behavior. Weren't you leaving next week? Ika asked Verin in a very dry tone. Verin looked back at Ika with the same confused expression. I was only visiting Lupomo because of a project I'm working on. I needed to do some research. Why do you ask? Verin replied. Ika swiftly stood up, with a strange glimmer in her eyes. Galeto flew off her head and landed on a chair close to Verin. You don't need this room anymore then, Ika said, without even looking back. Excuse me? Verin was confused by Ika's raising her voice like that. Is Verin a spy? I don't know. I told you to keep it down, Agnes hissed. There's no need to stay quiet anymore. I have had it with this barrier. I'm leaving. Ika screamed out loud once more. Ika quickly stood up and walked to Verin's tea table and got on it, giving her a bit of extra height. She raised both hands and sighed deeply. Because of the type of spell being used, her eyes didn't change color. A bow made of light appeared in Ika's hand. It was much heavier than she could carry it with only one hand, so she used her tail to stabilize it. Oh, that is true. I hadn't noticed. Pretty good art, and I like that it's dynamic. Not bad at all. I really like it. An arrow appeared from Ika's fingertips at the same time she pulled the string. Stand back! Ika screamed without looking at them. Bren was more surprised by the fact that Ika had a tail and horns than anything else. What the hell? Wait! Agnes screamed as he saw the Astromagos do her thing. Astromagi had access to two very special spellbooks. It contained 26 spells, 13 for anti-magi and the other 13 for magi, each of them representing a month of the year. There is a catch. Only one spell is accessible at a time for each, depending on the zodiac constellation the planet was currently positioned on. Hassansa and Bucel grimoires, named after the material divine beings that fed the astromagi energy through the void after they had kickstarted the spell with their own magic. What are you doing? Agnes shouted. As she used her tail to keep the bow steady, another part of the arrow materialized right near the tip, a helix that floated near the tip of the arrow. Making us a way to the top levels, you can thank me later, Ika shouted back. Just as Agnes was about to step forward once more, Verin halted him. You're gonna get shot, dude. Step in front of the firing weapon. Agnes, don't get in between her and the window. If I remember correctly, that is, Verin said. Ika shot her arrow with very little hesitation. The arrow pierced through the glass and exploded on impact with the barrier. A very strong wind current reached them all out almost instantly, and they sucked the dust produced by the explosion out of the apartment. The explosion has sent Verin's luggage and Kodrak flying off the building. God damn it! Someone else is going to catch that, I hope. After the ears had stopped ringing and they had witnessed what Ika had just done, Verin finally finished his sentence. An explosive head, Verin said as he stared at the large hole on the wall of his apartment. Good thing I unpacked everything, I think, he said in disbelief. Ika quickly jumped off the tea table and grabbed Agnes' wrist. She pulled him towards the hole on the wall. We're leaving now, Ika yelled. Verin saw Ika's wing unfold, which made him realize what Ika was. I know where you are. That is surprising, but at the same time it is not, Verin said, as he was reminded of Ika's mother. Galeto quickly flew off through the hole on the wall. Once again, by showing her unusual feats of strength, Ika began flapping her wings and leaping through the hole in the wall, all while pulling Agnes with her. The barrier had started to close at that moment, with them leaving Lupomo right before it sealed up completely. So what happened to the barrier caster? He died? Actually, can handle my weight. The view is terrific, so pretty. Ah! Wait! They were flying upwards. Hopefully they can get in, because if if the bear is still covering the school and they need an entry point, unless she makes another hole. Ika landed on a branch right in front of the massive window on the hallway that led to Nave's office. Agnes was a bit out of breath from the experience. Being pulled off half a kilometer above the ground was not something he expected to do today. Again, I like the dynamic scenes pretty good. There it is, Ika said as she casually walked along the branch to reach the window. You will explain your plan before you act on it, you know, Agnes complained. As if I was going to let you both talk me out of it, Ika shot back. Agnes frowned upon hearing that. He approached her by the window soon after. His step was quick since he had a better grip on the branch because of his claws. Empty as always, Agnes said as he looked through the windows. Ika moved her hand close to the window pane, noting that the barrier was very weak there as well. I think I can do it again, Ika said. Upon lifting her arms, even though she wasn't physically tired, she realized that it was little too soon to do it again. Her magical gauge was almost intact, but the pores on her hands were clogged with the residual energy. Depending on the expertise of the magos, it could take from several seconds to a few hours for them to release these toxins. She clenched her fist, feeling immediately disappointed by this. So, this is as far as we go, Agnes asked after a few moments, before sitting on the branch right behind Ika. Ika didn't respond and simply looked through the window once more. She refused to let this be the only thing that they could do besides escaping the academy. Ika turned around and lay down right between Agnes' legs. Kiss me, Ika said. What did you just say? Agnes yelped the moment he heard the request. Well, I guess we can just force this, just so she can get more magic. Oh well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I can cleanse myself right now if you lend me some of your magical energy, Ika moaned. Agnes blushed right away upon hearing that. Are you really okay with it then? Agnes said before looking at Ika in the eyes. Ika nodded lightly, with a blush of her own across her face. Agnes averted his gaze upon noticing Ika's blush. Thinking about it for a few seconds, he shook his head. Just, never mind, okay? Ika quickly climbed onto Agnes a little closer. Before they realized it, their lips touched. Agnes allowed his legs to hang from the side of the branch as he held Ika close so she wouldn't fall. A few seconds into their kiss, Agnes started to feel that unpleasant sensation he experienced the day before. Unpleasant in a way of, energy drain, and unpleasant in a way of, awkwardness. His sleep had gone numb, and he felt his body ache. Ika was clearly enjoying the kiss, and wasn't aware at all of the state he was in. After what felt like an eternity for Agnes, Ika finally moved away. Thank you, Ika said before getting on her feet. Agnes stood up and walked away towards the other end of the branch. On his way there, he couldn't help but wonder what that thank you was for. Ika sighed deeply and waited for a moment before acting. She pulled out her bow once more, but this time the explosive tip didn't manifest. Without much fanfare, she released the arrow. The berry acted as a cushion that absorbed most of the energy. The arrow fizzled away halfway through the hallway. Let's go, quick, Ika said before making her way inside. Agnes followed closely a moment later. Again, assets. Plenty of them. It's just go alright. I mean, comparing it last time, where it was like, it took like a lot more from seeing one new asset to another, and dialogue was like, well, there's still a lot in one place. This feels like a very natural progression on a visual novel. Like how do I say this? Usually I was last time kind of like seeing the visual novel and thinking, okay, well, these are ways that you could probably improve this. And now that I'm seeing like the visual novel just being like, well, it sounds kind of weird, but being a normal product, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'm not being taken away from the experience. The visual novel is moving the experience across with the user expectations. Like, I wouldn't be mentioning this if it was like, let's say a AAA production, because I mean, let's say if you're playing like Red Dead Redemption, you usually don't say, "Oh well, this isn't last too long," or "This camera shall last too long," things like that, because of course, right? They have like professionals working on it. But like when you have like smaller productions, usually you notice more those type of things. So what I'm saying is, comparing how chapter one was to the second chapter, it feels more like a full-fledged like product. So I'm glad I took the extra time and effort because when was the time where we played like this, read this novel? Because I was thinking last year, but it was probably like 2 years ago. So that takes some time. So well, I'm glad. Hopefully they can keep this up. Again, maybe they can do like maybe they can add more assets on like a on the future, like I said before. But so far it has been pretty good. Well, whichever. Let's continue. I think I can say this more after we end this, whenever that is. They very close behind them shortly after. The wind was still pushing through the weakened barrier, making them feel cold outside, making them feel the cold outside air hit against their back. I think it's like the cold air outside. Should be something like that. Well, regardless. The corridor didn't look any different from the last time they had visited. The lighting was just as gloomy as they remembered. That's it. The door to Nave's office were two identical frames that mirrored each other while being spaced a few meters apart. The strange design decision was under Nave's request. There were only two other entrances into the hallway. Only that led to Nave's bedroom, and the other directly to the red tinted stairs. Ika was hypersensitive to magical sources, the kiss having put her mind in a state of extracorporeal cognizance. She felt an unusual sensation on her fingertips, and a light dizziness after using those spells one after the other. Ika stared at her palms, trying her best to keep her composure. Agnes didn't appear to notice Ika's state and stepped towards Nave's office entrance. His attention was on Nave's bedroom door, which was slightly open. After realizing that Ika was lagging behind, he turned around and approached her immediately. "Hey, are you okay?" Agnes said before grabbing Ika's hand, which took her out of her trance. "I'm fine. I never used that much magic so quickly before," Ika said. After a few moments, she looked around the hallway. "Don't you think this is a little too empty? Wasn't this meant to be a place where an arrest took place?" Agnes asked, still holding Ika's hand. "This calmness is making my ears ring for some reason." Ika nodded. "I don't like this at all. We should check the principal's office," Ika said, as it was the only thing they could do at that point. Agnes nodded in agreement. The man let go of Ika and approached one of the doors to Nave's office, only to stop upon hearing Ika speak. "Agnes, someone is coming!" Ika shouted. "A Magus!" Ika said with a worried voice and expression. Agnes quickly grabbed Ika's hand once more. "Be quiet," he said before taking Ika towards Nave's bedroom. We can check it quickly. We're going to search for these sparks. I know we have yet to to say anything or to see anything. Xiao? What is that? Is that what I think it is? Who cares? Just come, come here. What the heck? It's a picture of Xiao. That was all. Well, I mean, it's kind of weird. We don't know. We don't know what this place is supposed to be, or I guess we're just taking it as we go. Again, Nice asset. As soon as they were inside, Agnes closed the door behind him and went down the 2 stairs of the first section of the bedroom. They both crouched and put their bodies against the tiny wall. I guess they mean this one. Keeping quiet as soon as their knees hit the floor. Agnes looked towards the door, taking a deep breath. They heard footsteps on the other side. Someone was approaching fast. Agnes could see that Ika was scared. She had come to her senses a moment ago, but was still confused. Ika, can you cast that spell again? Agnes asked, fully prepared to kiss Ika if needed. Ika looked at her hands for a moment. They were trembling. Both of them noticed that a lot of her capillaries were about to burst. I think I can, but... Don't, Agnes said, after putting his hands under hers. Her hands could be torn apart if she continued using it. Since the magic that fit the spell was being provided by her Bucel, Ika was experiencing an inflammation of her blood vessels. A magical surge inside the body from a foreign source causes a reaction on people that aren't used to it, akin to an allergic reaction. For an experienced magus or anti-magus, it takes quite a while to tear their body apart from their own magic, but it can happen. Ika clenched her fist and closed her eyes, feeling powerless. I'll distract whoever that is. That should give you enough time to escape, Agnes said as he raised his body in order to stand up properly, only to be stopped by Ika grabbing his shirt, keeping him down. Together. We stay together, idiot, Ika said in a low voice. Agnes stared at Ika and noticed in her eyes that it was clear she wouldn't go anywhere without him. He sighed and lowered his knee onto the floor once more. Agnes didn't know exactly what to say. Anything that he would suggest could sound like something heroic that Ika wouldn't approve of. He decided to wait for the moment to come. They are here, Ika said as she cowered a bit, with her eyes closed. Agnes kept his eyes wide open towards the entrance. They would have to protect themselves as soon as the door opened. The footsteps suddenly stopped. It's that guy. The same man that attacked Ika and Agnes at the observatory was just a few steps away from Nave's bedroom entrance. He had stopped moving for some strange reason, looking directly at the entrance as if his priorities had suddenly changed. Who the fuck shut this window? Who the fuck did this? Oh. Well, I'm pretty sure if this guy is worth any, if he says anything, he's probably going to notice that. An engulfing shadow snuffed off the light coming from the window behind him. This instantly grabbed the attention of the man, who had his back towards the large window. Oh, she had the same idea of breaking the window. You know what? Glad they cracked a bit for her. So it didn't take that much for her. Yeah, right. Just a few seconds later, a large jet black dragon crashed against the window of the academy. Pink sparks flew everywhere as the body slam from the dragon destroyed the barrier without much effort. The dragon released a booming growl towards the Magus as it flew towards him. This caused the man to clench his fist and take a proper combat stance towards the creature. It's like fucking Skyrim, he's going to fucking fist fight the dragon. This was done in an almost automatic motion, as if he was programmed to be ready for anything at any given moment, even a giant fucking dragon breaking through the window. However, attacking him wasn't the dragon's intention. Once the dragon had flown half of the way towards the man, it skidded to a halt, a shower of debris racing ahead of it in the man's direction, who jumped off the creature, wielding one of her broadswords. She danced towards the man, who became disoriented by the amount of debris being sent his way, his hands being his only way to defend himself. He stepped away from U by kicking the floor and launching himself backwards. You know, we're getting a lot of CGI shots, so you know what? This is great. This is great. U swung her sword horizontally, the Magus not catching onto U's quickness and making a wrong guess as to when she was going to swing her weapon, receiving a cut across his chest. The cut wasn't deep, but it was enough to make him bleed and to partially seal his magical gauge. As he was falling, the man channeled all of his strength onto his third arm and dislocated it to hit the down floor underneath him as hard as he could. The floor collapsed as the entire academy was shaken by his punch. A large hole around 10 meters in diameter was made underneath them. We realized that at that moment, a single punch like that could kill her instantly if her chest or head were hit. Alright, so Mega Man strategy, don't get hit. Doom strategy, don't get hit. The commander allowed herself to free fall along with the man, but not before using her foot to kick the man's chest to create some distance between them as they fell. The magic touched his bleeding chest as he stared at Wu with an empty expression on his face. Wu quickly realized that something was very unusual about the way the man was acting, but decided to carry on with her plans to subdue him as soon as possible. What the heck was that? She could scream as she felt her balance being thrown off by the building's movement along with the thunderous explosions. Well, let's be busy with that, so maybe we can ransack this place and see what's happening. A cloud of dust hit the floor of Nate's bedroom from the outside, some of this passing through its gaps and underneath the door. Whatever that was, I think I'm glad it happened, Agnes said as he made his way towards the entrance of the office, Ika following him almost immediately. Oh, well, look at this fucking mess! What the hell happened? Is the dragon still in the hallway though? As soon as they both got out of Nate's bedroom, they noticed the large hole on the floor right in front of them. They stared at it, puzzled. Was that a dragon? Ika asked as she looked towards the large window at the end of the hallway. It left. No dragon is matched for a trained magus, Agnes pointed out before moving closer to the hole, looking down through it. It appeared they had gone through several floors. Well, that person is busy now, Agnes said as they both kept hearing sounds coming from a few levels below. Well, we can just keep doing our business, I guess. Ika, do you think the principal is in there? Agnes said before moving close to the office entrance. Ika shook her head. I'm not sure, but I feel like something is out of place, Ika said while looking in the direction of one of the doors of the office. Ika! They heard someone shout from behind, startled them both almost immediately. Oh, it's Maldo! They spotted Maldo just as she landed a few meters away from the hole in the floor. With a quick step, she made her way to her daughter. Agnes realized a sign of relief upon realizing who it was. Mom! Ika yelled as she ran towards her. The moment they were within each other, they embraced each other. Maldo hugged Ika as tight as she could without hurting her, all while placing her hand on the back of her head. Ika, Maldo whispered. Agnes stared at he seemed quite surprised and remained silent to allow them to reunite properly. He smiled after watching them for a while. For a moment, he felt uncomfortable, as if it was something he probably shouldn't be looking at. It's just a family meeting, dude. Agnes cleared his throat and bowed with his head towards Maldo as she noticed his presence. What exactly just happened? Was that you just now? Agnes asked. While checking if Ika was heard, Maldo spoke. No, that was Commander Wu, Maldo said. The team that just arrived was assembled by Xiao. Our priority right now is to get you all out of the academy, Maldo explained, her voice slightly broken, as if she was trying her best not to give in to her emotions. We decided it was now or never, since all the students should be taking classes right now, Maldo said. Agnes nodded. He was still in awe by the presence of Maldo. Agnes, Maldo said while looking exclusively at the man. This made Agnes stand up straight. Yes, he squeaked while blushing slightly. Thank you for taking care of Ika, Maldo said with a smile. Oh, I can tell her, man. You can know what you two have been doing. I am the one who has been taking care of him, Ika said with teary eyes. She cleaned her eyes with her sleeve while she held the glasses in her hand. Agnes' eyes rolled as he heard what Ika said. We took care of each other. Is that any better? Agnes said. Even though I'm grateful that you took care of her, the best option was for you to stay put and wait for us to get you out, Maldov said with an angry expression. Well, some things happened. we we were looking for the principal. Can you tell us what is going on exactly? Agnes said, trying to be completely honest about it. We have been trying to figure out what happened, but it has been impossible. They booby trapped some places around Lupomo, Agnes explained. Maldo listened to Agnes carefully. Anything that they might have figured out could be useful after all. We're on the same page. We aren't quite sure what is happening besides the fact that your principal was supposed to get arrested 6 days ago, Maldo began explaining. We heard an explosion some minutes ago. Commander Ru decided to come investigate as soon as possible, Maldo said. That was Ika, Agnes said, thinking back about the girl blowing up the wall of Burn's apartment. Maldov looked at Ika with a slightly angry expression. Ika averted her gaze at once and poked the tip of her index finger together. Maldov closed her eyes and continued. If Commander Wu took the decision to attack whoever was in here, it must have been one of the Constellations that were sent along with the government squad, Maldov said. Alright, this threw me also. They were sent to arrest the principal with a Constellation in the ranks. A Constellation? There's a Constellation here? Ika screamed. Maybe that man? Ika asked Agnes. Agnes shrugged at Ika. Neither of them had an idea of what most of the members looked like. You met them? Maldo asked, quite concerned. A man attacked us at the observatory. I don't quite remember much. It's quite fuzzy for me. But Agnes said that he had 3 arms. Ika said. Triangulum, Maldo said in a somber tone. Who is that? Why would he attack us? Nika asked. Quite annoyed, she removed her glasses for a moment to wipe her tears. Neither of them should have any business attacking students. They're supposed to be working with the government squad that got here last week, Maldo said with a concerned look. Wait, that sounds like news to you. Why didn't they tell you which Constellation they hired before coming here? Agnes asked. The leader of the squad that was meant to arrest Nave is called Farhan. He is one of the 3 main chiefs of the Bureau of Investigation for the Usu government, Maldo began to explain. Apparently, he hired this Constellation without proper authorization from the government. The reasons why are still unknown. Nobody from the government has been able to get in contact with him so far, Maldo finished. Is that man in here too? Agnes asked after a short pause. No idea, Maldo said before walking between them in the direction of Nave's office doors. Ika and Agnes looked at each other before staring back at Maldo. We were about to try to open them, Agnes said, quite surprised of Maldo's large figure as she moved without doubts in her mind. Maldo's tail appeared from underneath her clothes, and unlike Ika, it was at least 3 times longer. Well, I mean, Ika's kinda short. She used the tip of it to push back both Ika and Agnes a bit before facing the wall right between the 2 doors. These doors aren't safe to manipulate, Maldo explained. Stand back. How can you tell? Agnes asked before grabbing Ika by the shoulders and forcing her to move backwards a few steps. Maldo raised her arms at face level and started muttering something under her breath. She was evidently charging a spell, since her tail began to scream violently on the floor. After around 10 seconds, the woman slashed the wall in front of her in several powerful slashes. There was a wall covering something else. This brought down the wall between the doors in a very few chunks. Whoa, Agnes said with a shocked expression, a word that was repeated just a moment later upon peeking inside of the office. Nate's office was full of bodies. Judging by the uniforms, they quickly realized they were the missing government squad members. Are they Dead? Ika asked as she noticed some of them were lying on the floor, while others were sitting on the chairs around the office. I'm not sure, Maldov said. Her attention appeared to be directed at something else. Tiny firefly-like lights were moving around the office, bouncing off the walls, floor, and ceiling. Maldov stepped back and forced Ika and Agnes to do so as well. A trap? Maldov said as her eyes opened wide. Those things don't look safe, Agnes said. I don't think they are dead, though. I can see one of them breathing, Agnes said. I don't see the principal, at least from here, Ika said before stepping forward. Ika said before stepping forward once more and standing on her toes to try to look further away. Should we try to get them out? Agnes said before grabbing Ika by the shoulder to stop her from getting closer. I could try to get in and out. I'm very resistant to magic, Agnes said, trying to help. One of the lights left the office at that moment. Malov slashed it with the tip of her tail, dispelling it successfully. I'm not going to risk any of you. My job is to get you both out of here. These people are not our responsibility, Malov said. Besides, they've probably been marinating there for a while. Either they will be fine or they are already not fine. So let your kids out. Ika, can you fly? Maldov asked right away. Ika simply nodded slowly. Leave the academy right now. I need to get to Commander Wu, Maldov said. A group of magi is making its way to the academy as we speak. They will deal with these people when they come here, Maldov said as she started to walk towards the hall. But, Ika said out loud. Just as Maldov was about to respond back, Agnes was the one who interrupted Ika though. We can't do anything else, Ika. Nave isn't here, Agnes said to Ika. He looked at Maldov before he continued. I'll keep her safe, Agnes said. Ika simply closed her arms, quite annoyed by the situation. Good boy, Maldov said with a smile, making Agnes blush slightly. Maldov looked down the hall and stared at it for a moment. Be careful, Ika screamed to her mother. Maldov nodded at Ika before removing her cape, opening her wings and flying down the hall. There was a very long silence between them both before Ika spoke out loud. I think I know where the principal is. Let's go, Ika said quickly before forcing Agnes to piggyback her like before. Agnes was taken by surprise by Ika's words and actions. Nah, I hope you grow up and become more like your mother, Agnes complained. He was still a bit flustered by being called a good boy by Maldov. Yeah, I guess so. I just told your mother I will take care of you. And now you suddenly know where the principal is? Agnes asked, quite annoyed. Do you remember the new classroom that were being built on the bottom levels? That project was suspended out of nowhere, Ika yelled. It's been out of reach for students for months now. I swear we started seeing the principal less and less a bit after that expansion started. It must be related, Ika said while she swung her body back and forth while being carried by Agnes on his back. Agnes sighed before looking down at the hall. It had been quite enough time for Ika's mother to leave. That place is under construction, and it is dangerous. Nobody in their right mind will go there, and I hate to say it, but you might be right, Agnes said. I just hope your mother doesn't hate me for this. If she asks, what's your idea? He finished. Agnes was quite sure they wouldn't find a thing, and knew Ika wouldn't budge anyways. Ika simply nodded with a smile on her face. She didn't seem to care at all about getting in more trouble than they already were. Let's go, Agnes said. Ika held on tight to Agnes right before he jumped onto the hole. Alright, well, it has been good so far. Good, a good set of action, one after the other. Oh my god. We'll be here.